Hi everyone, I just wanted to do a quick tutorial today on how to enhance your animations inside iClone using some of the tools and very basic animation fundamentals, specifically that of stretch and squish, or squish and stretch, which has been used in animation pretty much as long as animation has existed. And that's what gives us the difference between this
What?
and this.
What?
So we'll be running through how to achieve that second result today. So here's what I've got to start with on the iClone timeline.
What?
It's pretty simple. It's
What?
character reacting, turning to the side, and saying the line "what,"
What?
which I've just used in Aculips, which comes with the iClone program. It's got the visemes here. It's just a single word. Trying to keep it simple because we're going over the tools that I'm going to be using to achieve that second result, so we don't have to have anything too long. It's just a very simple explanation or example. Um, so
What?
let's start from scratch. Let's completely get rid of the motion, and
What?
so all we have is that word. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is reintroduce that basic animation, which is the human female idol. So it gives us a base to build on, which we're then going to add more into.
What?
So as you can see, we haven't got that head turn now because I introduced that previously. Um, so using the fundamental of squash and stretch, the idea behind that is that rather than just a straight turn of a character, if you want to express a little bit more dynamic movement into that character and a bit more expression, they squish down a little bit before reacting and stretch out as they react and then relax back down into their normal position. So you can use this to varying degrees depending on how realistic your character is. Sometimes it won't work on very realistic characters. It'll work really well on cartoony characters, and somewhere in the middle for a character like this, which is
What?
sort of in between. Um, so let's first reintroduce that head turn. So we're going to add a new layer onto our animation layers here. So in our motion layer, going to go just before that word, and I'm going to go to animation, edit motion layer, find my head, and set key. Going to go there, going to turn the head,
What?
okay, a little bit further.
What?
Alright, so that's basically where we were when we started.
What?
So first thing that I see wrong there
What?
is that the head stops very suddenly. People aren't
What?
mechanical in that sense. We don't stop on a dime. There's a little bit of inertia when you turn your head and it settles. So
What?
let's introduce that, going back to our edit motion layer. So after a little bit after that frame where the head turns, I'm going to turn the head just ever so slightly more so that
What?
when she turns,
What?
it settles into that, and you can see that that's
What?
already a vast improvement.
What?
So now we're going to start
What?
introducing those concepts of stretch. So I keep wanting to call it stretch and squash. I think it's squash and stretch because you do the squash first.
What?
So just before the head turn there, or in between the first and second position, um, I'm going to angle the head down slightly, but I'm also going to just zoom out a little bit. I'm going to find the torso and, oh, no, not that one, the pelvis, and pull that down ever so slightly. And maybe just take the shoulders up. This is sort of a formula I've discovered which works reasonably well for this kind of thing.
What? What?
So that's what we're getting there. It's bad. It's not bad. I think we can smooth it
What?
out a little bit more. So that's, as you can see, that's already the So we've got the squish, we don't quite have the stretch. So the stretch would be right on the word. So now we take her up a little bit. We bring the shoulders down. Like so. And then she's going to settle back into a regular position there.
What?
So maybe she can settle down, take a little bit longer to settle her torso, this is where we can adjust the body parts individually so that it's not too robotic. So we can have the torso settle down a little longer
What?
after the head, because the head and maybe the arms take a little bit longer as well. Um,
What?
so staggering them out like that
What?
is a good way to make things feel
What?
hopefully a little bit more natural.
What?
So
What?
I think I also want to turn not just the head, I want to turn the spine. So finding that second position, turning her whole body, maybe adjust the head position a little bit, like so.
What?
So now I have to copy that across, reposition the head.
What?
So now I've got a little bit messed up now where, there we are, I should do it.
What?
So now, because
What?
those adjustments, she's kind of stopping on a dime again, so I'm going to go back here, find that head position, bring it back slightly so there's this little ease into the second position.
What?
Okay, that might be a bit too much. Let's take her a little bit further. It really is just
What? What?
a matter of going through
What?
these keyframes and tweaking them until it feels
What?
natural. And obviously that's going to be
What?
completely different for every single animation.
What?
So getting reasonably happy with the body
What? What?
positions now, but there's still not much going on in the
What?
face. So let's start adding some expression
What?
to this fairly blank expression character. And the way I'm going to do that is going to animation and face key. I'm going to hit key all expressions. Now the reason we do this is because if I'm going to be adjusting multiple
What?
parts of the face. So if I want to do a blink, for example, I don't want to have to then go back and do another keyframe for the mouth or another keyframe for the jaw and on and on and on. So whenever I do a keyframe for one part, it's going to keyframe every single other item. So that's really good in the sense that you don't have to do it manually. So basically, I always have key all expressions on when I'm using the face key. So that's in my expression track, which I don't think I have one yet because there is no expressions. Yes, she is completely expressionless. So we don't have an expression track here, so I'm just going to shut down face key for the moment and create an expression track. One of the ways we can do that is just by going to face puppet, and we'll keep blank expression. So we'll find just let's just start with the default one, which is eyes, head, look. We'll record it, but we won't actually
What?
do anything. So now that's finished, we've recorded a little expression track there, which we can then start to keyframe. So now we can come back to face key and start modifying that. So the kind of the formula I've come up with here is
What?
a few different things inside these tracks that I've been using fairly regularly when I want to create reactions that go along with this squash and stretch fundamentals. And starting with the eyelids. As she comes down, she's going to blink. So we're going to create a neutral frame first, just by going just before that squish down. We're going to take this up and down, and that's created a keyframe which is just a basic expression. So now we're going to go to that lowest point, and we're going to close both of her eyes. Okay, and then we can copy that first one and have her eyes open again.
What?
Okay,
What?
so that's nice, but it's not enough. So on that same middle keyframe, we're going to really build this up. We're going to squint. Because she's already blinking, her eyelashes are starting to go inside her head a little bit, so we can reduce that blink a little bit so it doesn't get distorted when we use it in conjunction with the squint. I'm also going to go to the nose and screw her face up a little bit. Brow, let's drop those brows down, and let's bring her mouth up and her chin as well.
What?
Oops, got a frame there.
What? What?
It's a matter of frames, but
What?
it adds so much to the
What?
character. Also, she's got no life to her eyes. She's just kind of staring at nothing. There's two ways we can do that. We can give her something to look at. So we can give her a target to look at, like a sphere or a box or just any primitive shape, or we can manipulate the eyes manually. So I'm going to do that second part. I'm going to have her look slightly to the right after she's blinked. Make sure those numbers are the same so she doesn't look cross-eyed.
What?
And then because she
What?
turns her head a little bit more, I'm going to bring her back a little bit to about, say, 20. So from 26 to 20, so it looks like she's looking at the same thing.
What?
Okay, she sounds a little bit upset, so I feel like her brows should be raised slightly. And let's keep a little bit of that squint going on, so she has a little bit of confusion in her face. Like, I don't know what's been said to her, but it's obviously shocking.
What? What?
So, actually, I'm going to not let it squint straight away. So, we'll keep that squint there, but on that first frame after the what, I'm going to take the squint away and widen the eyes. And you can actually do negative numbers as well. So if I do -10, that's really going to open up the eyes there.
What? What?
Now we can start just working with the mouth. What? Maybe just open her mouth a little bit wider. There. So jaw open, or what? You might recognize these from the previous tutorial I did as well, which is for just enhancing facial shapes on particular words and expressions.
What? What?
So once again, maybe don't have both her lids the same. Maybe have one slightly lower. Maybe have the nose up slightly on that side. Yeah, things are slightly uneven. It can give her a little bit more of a natural and not too robotic look.
What? What? What?
Okay, that's starting to look pretty good. So I might introduce a little bit more head motion. So once again, two ways we can do this. We can use the face puppet. I might have a look at that just initially, just to show you how that works. So we always want to make sure we're on blend. So we're blending into our existing animation, which it does automatically anyway. So just double check that's always on. And I'm going to just go down to head, so it's not going to move the eyes around at all. And just going to put a little bit of a head shake before she turns her head. See if I can get the timing right anyway.
What?
That wasn't quite right, but let's see how that looks.
What? What?
So that's
What?
interesting. Um, and because it's done with the mouse, which is how I just did it, can look a little janky. I'm going to smooth that expression clip out, usually only by 1 or 2 points, maybe even just 1.
What?
Yeah, that looks pretty good.
What? What?
So once again, we want to make sure that she's always looking at stuff. Oh, sorry, I should have mentioned, when you do use the face puppet, it's going to get rid of all your keys. So just be very aware of that, because once you use the face puppet, you can't come back. So I've just Control Z a couple of times, so I've got my keys
What?
back. So it's usually like a final pass,
What?
if you want to hold on to those keys. So I've gotten rid of that head turn now, so you might look at a different way of doing it.
What?
But once again, just always, what's she looking at? What are her eyes doing? Eyes are the biggest giveaway for a character that's alive, between the character that's alive and a character that's not alive. So I'm going to want it to be looking at something there as she's turning. 58, 59.
What? What?
That might have been a bit too much. Let's try. So just going to make her look up a little bit as well, because her head's tilted down there. Once again, making sure the numbers match. Yeah.
What?
So now it looks like she's tracking something with her eyes. She's actually looking at something. And once again, we're talking about a matter of frames here, like 2 or 3 frames. But it really, you spot it. You can see it, even subconsciously, that she's not actually looking at something. Or she is. So let's look at another way to bring that little head shake in using the edit animation editor here. So we're going to just find a couple of frames after the reaction and just put in a little bit of head shake, like tiny little movements, just a few frames apart, and see how that looks. They're close enough together that hopefully we don't have to adjust the eyes. Let's have a look. Oh, okay. That's not quite right. And also the readjustment on the head looks a little weird afterwards. So let's delete that and try again. Let's try something different. Maybe just before the reaction. It's like this. It's a little bit of trial and error in finding where the right position for things are sometimes. So she's still kind of gliding into that last position in a bit of an unnatural way. Oh, shows the wrong spot. There we are. Right keyframe. So now there's... Yeah, let's trying something different. Third time's a charm. So there again, maybe even tinier movements. Sometimes it's the smallest can look the best. Let's have a look at that. Yeah, maybe. Let's see that again. Just making sure we get that settling down a little better. Yeah. I think that's closer to what we had when we used the face puppet, with these frames pretty close together. But also we get to keep our facial keys as well. We don't lose those on the expression track, which is the good way of doing it about this method. So let's have a look at changing. Let's just open her mouth there, so she's gritting her teeth at that point. Oh, not with the face puppet, because that will delete all our keyframes again. So yeah, we're just going to mess about with the jaw and the mouth a little bit, so she's really gritting her teeth at that point. So see if we can find the settings for that with all these lip curls and the like. Sometimes it's just a matter of moving sliders until you find the right look, which that's probably pretty good actually. The mouth's just a little bit open there. Very subtle, but it's there. And once again, we don't lose our facial keys. I'm also going to raise the brows on that little moment there because she's like really surprised. Let's try and sell that surprise a little bit more.
What? What? What?
There. Brows went up and down very... Oh, I know what I've done. This is an easy mistake to make. I was looking at the keyframes on the motion track, not the expression track, so I've placed two keyframes too close to each other. That's something to look out for. Make sure you're looking at the right track. So just going to go in and delete that keyframe that was a little too close and start again. Got another couple of keyframes very close back there. What's going on there? Not sure what those are, but doesn't seem to be doing anything noticeable, so I'll leave those alone for now and just come back to this one. So yeah, this is on the expression track now, and raising the brows on that moment of surprise.
What?
So I've just skipped ahead a little bit here, just using exactly the same tools as we've been using this whole time, the edit motion layers, that kind of thing. I'll just add a little bit of a lean forward for her to punctuate that moment of surprise, and smoothed out some of the body motion. Just been tweaking the expressions, just having a play. Sometimes the biggest trick with this kind of thing is knowing when to stop, as with anything, is knowing when your expression looks good, and don't add anything more, otherwise it might start to look too busy. But that's just something that comes with experience, which I'm very much still learning myself. So hopefully you found this useful tutorial. Hopefully you've learned some new tips here and some tricks to apply to your own animations. So if you found this useful, please like and subscribe. Maybe join us on Patreon, and we'll see you next time.